recently, since November, basically, since UMG, WMG, Atlantic, all the other companies have been cracking down on doing covers on YouTube, it's been increasingly difficult for me to think of things to share with all of you people. And I took some time off just because I got disenfranchised with the whole thing, and I didn't know whether I wanted to do it anymore. Lately, I've been doing some instructional stuff, which is really one of the reasons why I first started posting stuff, is really because I just want to share what I know about drumming and what I've learned over the last 21 years with other drummers, because I think it's important to continue the oral tradition of teaching and the visual and oral tradition of showing how to do things on an instrument. So what I decided to do is go through a lot of the comments that I've got, thousands of comments I've got over the last couple years, and pare it down to about 30 questions that are what I would call my f.a.q, my frequently asked questions, or just constantly present similar comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a visual response to each question, so that in the future, when someone asks the same question that was asked 14 times before on the same video, I can just refer them to my f.a.q. So, as I alluded to in my little introduction, probably the most frequently asked question, so I'll give it my number one spot, is why am I doing this? Well, it started out as a reaction to my own searching through YouTube. When I discovered YouTube, I kept getting attachments, people giving me links. About 3 years ago, people would say, "Oh, this is hilarious," and you see a dog playing a tuba or something stupid like that. And it was always YouTube, 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 YouTube. And so I decided, well, this place has a whole lot of stuff. I wonder if anyone is playing Rush music, because I've always been a student of Neil's drumming, and I want to learn as much as I can about it. So I typed in, Rush and a couple of song titles, and I came across literally thousands of hits. And I started clicking on things and watching videos, and I found a whole bunch of really bad drumming videos, to tell you the truth. And I thought, well, I think I can probably do better than that. And I mean, I did find a lot of good stuff too. So and even the bad stuff was a valiant, honest effort at trying to impart someone's ideas about how a song was to be played. And parts of it were right, and parts of it were completely wrong. And the sound sucked, and their timing was bad because they were a new drummer, whatever. But it gave me this idea of, okay, well, maybe I could share something. And since I've been on the internet since its inception in like 92, 93, when it first became public, and I always thought it was kind of an archaic place, not an archaic, but anarchic, like with anarchy. In other words, no one governs anything. We all kind of do our little job and contribute freely, and that's the key point, freely with no monetary gain. It's not a capitalistic venture. I'm not getting anything out of this. It's non-reciprocal altruism, as Richard Dawkins would say. I'm scratching your back and you're not scratching mine. So you say, well, why do you do it then? You know, are you getting off on it? Are you some kind of exhibitionist? Blah, blah, blah. Well, really, I think it's important to keep the drumming alive. You know, I want to continue the art of drumming. And you can argue about how artistic I am and whatever. That's fine. I have no qualms about that. But I think I do have a little to offer, and from the thousands of feedback letters, almost 95% of which are positive, I would have to say that you agree with me. So, here's my 27 f.a.q. So I've sort of already covered number one. Why do I do this? Blah, 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 blah. My second one is, what equipment do you use? Okay, well, I've covered this in my 2 tours of my drum set, but basically speaking, I have export drums by Pearl. I have almost all Paragon cymbals by Sabian, the Neil Peart series, signature series. My microphones are EAD and AKG. I have basically every drum mic'd, my bass drum mic'd, and 4 cymbal mics. I have woodblocks by LP. All of my cowbells are LP. This is a reference series 6.5 by 14 inch snare drum. This is a Pearl 3 by 13 inch piccolo. All my pedals are top of the line Pearl. I don't know what they're called, 122s or Power Shift or something like that. My sticks are Vic Firth's AH5B. I like them because they've got the weight of a 5A, but they've got the diameter of a 5B, so they feel nice and thick in my hands, but they're nice and light to maneuver. So that's why I use them. And after much consternation over sticks over the last 10 years in which the price has gone ridiculously high, I settled on them. They're kind of affordable, and they last me a long time. I used to use 747s by ProMark, freely admitting that I used them because that's what Neil used, and I found that they broke. They just wore out too quickly, and they were way too expensive, so I stopped using them. The Vic Firths, not only do they last me longer and are cheaper, they give me a better facility on the drum set. They're not as long, and they're not as kind of springy. The 747s are rather springy for me. They're a fibrous stick, whereas the Vic Firths are more of sinewy. So what happens is the Vic Firths just wear out. They get chopped up, and then they just wear out, and I throw them away. Takes a while for that to happen. Whereas the ProMarks, I found that the distance from here to there on the ProMarks, it got punched down from all the rim shots, and then they just started splintering, and then they broke in half. And it didn't take very long to do that. Maybe 2 or 3 hours of playing, and I was out $8. So I stopped using those because I'm not a millionaire. And at the same time, there was that springy aspect to them that I didn't really like that much. So that's it for my equipment.